Okay, now we played the game the whole way through, and what I'm going to show you next is how I used Wwise in order to put the music and sound effects that I created into Unity. Not all of the sound effects were mine, I admit, but I did put in a couple, and I will go through those. So to start off, in my Wwise project, I've built up this top-level game intensity switch, and it's got several transitions set up for a standard level. It's going to transition from one intensity to the next on any situation. Um, it's going to exit the music at a natural endpoint at the next bar, and it syncs up to the other music intensities. I composed them all. In this case, I did them all the same tempo, the same music speed, and the same key, so there's just this natural music transition wherever it happens. And they're set to fade out at 2 seconds offset by 1, or fade in at 2 seconds offset by -1 respectively, so the volume comes down and goes up between the two files simultaneously. So that's just this seamless transition, no pops or clicks. In the case of transitioning from the game menu to actually playing the game, I've got this one here. It's basically the same thing. It goes from the game menu music to music intensity 0, where you start playing the game at 0. And then during the game, you can win or you can lose. So I've got two transitions. In the case of losing, it immediately gives you just that, just sad or sad music. And then in the case of a win, you get the nice victory fanfare. Short, sweet. It's just a, hey, you won the game kind of thing. And then I've got these lower sound files that are housed in that they keep the music. So down here we've got this is the actual music. Looking at it, it goes across. That's the actual endpoint where most of the time it's set up to repeat in the gameplay intensity. So and they're all set up exactly the same. Sequence continuous. It repeats infinitely, going from one to the next. They repeat infinitely. So it keeps playing while you're playing the game until finally it transitions to your game level loss or win, and then it just plays. Music of disappointment because you lost, or victory music because you win. And then, as I mentioned, there's other sound effects that I kicked in. Just pushing menu select buttons, other menu select buttons, pressing the menu back button, and actual starting the game. So transitioning into actually starting the game, that fades towards whatever music is actually playing, and start gameplay, and it's all these sound files are set up exactly the same, with your natural repeat bar being there, and whether they need to repeat or not. Not all music needs to repeat. But in the end, this is all just to set up the mood of the player while they're playing the game. The music gradually goes from one intensity to the next, based off of which events. So in the events tab, we've got, it sets a state to lose. You get your gameplay lose, and then when you set the state to lose, it'll actually play the lose music. Likewise, set the state to win, it'll play the win music. Game menu, set the state, and set it based off of the wave number when you're actually playing the game. Back buttons, pressing the UI back button, etc., etc. And you come, which brings it back to the audio switch. So when you set it up and you first start the game, you're in the game menu, and it's playing the game menu music. And when you transition from the game menu into actually playing the game, it plays that stinger that transitions from one piece of music to the next, and now you're in the actual game setting up your moves before the game actually starts, because you're on wave 0. As soon as you click start game, it increases the intensity to 1, because now things are actually coming to attack you, so you transition from music intensity 0 to music intensity 1. And then as the game continues to play, the intensity increases, and you move from 1 to 2 to wave 3, and then when you reach wave 4, you get another transition. Slightly more intense music, and then when you reach waves 7, you get your final intensity. And then when you finally win the game, the screen pops up and you get your little fanfare. Just a brief fanfare, and then the music stops. Now, I did not build in regular transitions where when it goes from one to the next, it would actually play a stinger of any kind, and that is because in waves 1, 2, from wave 1 to 2 to 3, the music doesn't change, so we still need a stinger that plays each time that you go through each of that. So we get the event that happens, which is the next new wave comes along. So we get the new wave music playing each time a new wave comes. So there's no reason to add in that transition from 3 to 4 or from 6 to 7, because it's already playing with a new wave. So each time we get it, we get the start new wave sound. Right, and this whole thing is all set up just specifically to move into creating a sound bank. So we come over to the sound bank menu and we change our layout to the sound bank so that we can see we have this default work unit that we're going to build. Make it compatible with both Macintosh and Windows, or if we have other game platforms like a cell phone, we can add in the Android, iOS, or the Apple and English, where we can add various other languages, and then you just generate. And then we take that file and we move it over to Unity. So here we are looking at the Unity Tower Defense project, and if we come here to this Wwise Global, we can look here and see that our AK bank is selected with the Tower Defense sound bank that we created. And in addition to that, we want to come up here and check out our project settings and verify that not only is our sound bank going to the actual generated sound bank that we, and here it's actually routed to the Wwise project itself through the Wwise project path. And then there's nothing to it but just to play the game. And you can hear the button pushing. And our transition back into playing the game, which you already saw. And that's how I put in my music and a couple of sound effects into Tower Defense. I'm going to be making a couple more of these videos just to show what else I got, so stay tuned.